Hey, thank you for joining me on Legislative Update. I'm Dan Kristiansen and I'm your 39th District State Representative. Several days ago, as we approached the final week of the 2009 legislative session, statewide unemployment figures were released. With more than 344,000 people out of work, Washington has now got the highest unemployment rate since 1982. The 39th District, our district, has more than 6,300 people out of work, which actually makes our district the highest unemployed legislative district in the state. As we began the legislative session in January, our highest priorities should have been jobs and the economy. We should have been looking for ways to help employers create jobs and get people working again. Instead, in the past 4 months since session began, more than 50,000 jobs have been lost. Out of the 3,000 bills introduced, few, if any, that would have gotten people like yourself and our neighbors back to work were actually allowed to advance. Instead, the majority party focused on many other non-essential issues. For example, just the other night they spent time adopting a bill banning the sale of novelty or toy-like cigarette lighters in the state. Retail stores with this measure that continue to sell the lighters will first be issued a warning. However, there's a $250 fine for subsequent violations. They propose to spend millions, actually tens of millions of dollars to buy new parkland, even at a time when they're going to be short on dollars to keep existing parks open. As a matter of fact, they're planning on closing about 46 parks around the state. The high cost of our state's unemployment insurance program is consistently mentioned as a drawback to doing business in this state. Instead of cutting tax rates under the unemployment program to help get people back to work, the majority party actually voted to add and increase our unemployment taxes for our employers, thus making it more likely that they're going to be laying off more people. They also wasted hours on the House floor debating a bill to change how Washington's electoral votes are distributed in a presidential election, thus giving away our state sovereignty. And on the same day that more than 5,000 people gathered on the steps of the state capitol to protest higher taxes, the majority Democrats actually introduced a bill that would increase our state sales tax. That same day, 4 other tax increase proposals were also introduced. This is unbelievable. And then they held a news conference and said that people will die because of budget cuts unless voters say yes to tax increases. Why in the world would they make cuts to the budget that they truly believe are sending our citizens to their death? The answer is that these are scare tactics. My House Republican colleagues and I are fighting in Olympia for the hard-working taxpayers of our state and for the thousands of people who have lost their jobs. We know the budget can be balanced by setting the right priorities, priorities that certainly will not cause people to die. We also know this simple fact: you cannot tax yourself into prosperity. Winston Churchill noted that when he said, that's like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. It's very unfortunate that this has been a session of misplaced priorities. When it comes to employers and job creation, I believe, as Ronald Reagan said, that government should work with us, not over us. Government should stand by our side, not ride our backs. It should foster productivity, not stifle it. Those should have been the top priorities of the 2009 session, not novelty cigarette lighters, climate change, or increasing employers' tax burdens. I welcome your comments. I want to thank you again for joining me here on Legislative Update. I'm your State Representative, Dan Kristiansen. Thanks again now.